As per sources, the Ministry of Defence is considering new rules that would require retired army officers to seek prior clearance before writing books on their service, on their years in service. The Official Secrets Act, remember, continues to bind personnel for life, making the disclosure of classified or sensitive information a criminal offence. But there is currently no consolidated framework that specifically regulates publications by veterans. These proposed rules now seek to plug this legal grey area by formalizing procedures for permissions. Manuscripts that involve operational or confidential material will be vetted. But there are questions that are now being asked about whether this is going to result in a loss of transparency. Will people really be able to talk honestly about what has happened in service if there is going to be censorship of this kind? Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon, former General Officer Commanding of 15 Corps, is joining us now. General Dhillon, you yourself are a published author. Is this a way of trying to ensure that sensitive or uncomfortable details don't get out?
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening to your viewers. Before I answer your question proper, there is an honor code at least in the defense forces, that during my service career or during my various appointments which I may have held, if I am in know of certain things which are classified in nature, which have national security implications, those things will go with me to my grave or to my funeral. So that's an honor code. Although, like you also very correctly mentioned, there are no written instructions or rules or regulations governing the service officers writing books about operational aspects post their retirement. There are no specific service rules as of today. However, when in 2018, Mr. Dullat, along with the Director General ISI of Pakistan, Asad Durrani, had wrote a book. After that, there was a letter issued that intelligence chiefs or people who have dealt with intelligence, their appointments were given. They will not be writing about the intelligence aspects without clearance. Now, with General Narawane's book having come out and not having come out, it's not yet published, and the leaked excerpts, so to say, the alleged excerpts, now that having come into the limelight, I think there is a definite need to put things in place. For two reasons. One is, if I have served in the army or RAW or IB or BSF, CRPF or any other organization where by virtue of my appointment I am in know of certain aspects, it is not free for all that I go out and write books about it and compromise on national security. My wisdom of judging whether I am compromising or not is not good enough. Someone who is sitting in the government, who is sitting in the chair today, has to vet my contents, has to see whether what I have written, the manuscript, does it in any way jeopardize national security. And Official Secrets Act is there when you are in service. We sign it every year. But after retirement, there is ambiguity about that also. So I think...
No, and which is why I wanted to ask, look, when you are out of service, shouldn't it be left to the discretion of somebody? These are all decorated soldiers, somebody who's writing a book, somebody whose book people will want to read. Shouldn't we also have the stomach to take a critical look at what has gone right and what has gone wrong? If the government now gets to decide what you write, General Dhillon, then only the good things will come out. Will we be ever be able to talk critically of what we could have done better or what we did wrong maybe?
There is a very fine balance, between freedom of expression and compromising national security. The point which you are making, if I have to make some critical points and I verify it with my facts and I get it approved, if those are not compromising national security or operational plans, then the government will approve it. All my 3 books have been approved by government, including the one on Operation Sandhu, which came out within 3 months of 10th of May. So there is nothing which stops you from going to print. But then there is a very fine line between the freedom of expression and what you can say and what you cannot.
But here, playing a devil's advocate, sir, critics will argue that if the government wants to hide something where it could get called out, because this is a very fine relationship also. Yes, there are, of course, the defense aspects, but there is also the chain of command. and the government decision making. Anything that is not very flattering to the government, they can say national security is compromised and hide it.
And this is the rule world over. The government of the day in every country decides what is good for that nation and what is not good for that nation. So it's a universal rule, and I would like to believe that each government in every country in the world would do the best thing which is good for their nation. Now, this point of yours, we can argue this point, and yes, to some extent, if somebody is not comfortable with the truth coming out, there may be a chance where the government may try and say, okay, you can't write this. So, but then in a way, they will have to give justification that this is compromising national security. But that is how it works.
Because
people democratically have elected that government to take decisions.
Fair point. But in fact, now we are in a situation where many people are arguing that OSA itself, Official Secrets Act, should be done away with. Because if there is anything that has happened, it should be out there. People should be able to discuss it, debate it. If it has happened in our country, it's happened at our borders. The people of India deserve to know as well. We are at that point where questions are being asked about the Official Secret Act, and instead of being more transparent, will we not end up becoming more opaque thanks to these new rules if they come?
Ma'am, just to give a personal example, I have been a corps commander in Kashmir during most critical times of Pulwama, Balakot, 370, and I have been a Director General of Defense Intelligence Agency. If there are no checks and balances, I know so much. Being in these two appointments only, I know so much. And if it was left to my discretion to just go out and write anything which I know, just because I want to tell the people that I am in know and you should also know, that is not the way national security works. National security works with checks and balances, and Official Secret Act is just one of them. The rules and regulations governing your conduct during the service and after the service, because you know certain aspects which are in national security, which are of national importance. Everyone cannot be let to decide for himself or herself. That would be catastrophic. Then everyone who will retire will write a book, everything he knows about the national security or operational plans, the nuclear aspects and the defensive plans, offensive plans. I think it would be absolutely mayhem. Not allowed to be, we cannot allow that to happen.
All right.
Cannot allow that to happen. But then there is a very fine balance, I'm saying again, which has to be maintained between the right to freedom of expression and how much you can express since you know so much.
So that's the thing.
You cannot allow everyone to go out there and just write whatever he feels he knows.
I think there is an inherent suspicion in the minds of people about governments in general. Are governments really capable of striking that fine balance, or will they actually be more inclined to err on the side of caution and shut up anything that is even a little bit uncomfortable? I will leave that open for the viewers. For the time being, General Dhillon, for sharing your wisdom. Thanks very much for joining us here on The Buck Stops Here. Time for a very quick break.